Over the weekend of August 17th, the annual He-Man convention PowerCon took place in Anaheim, California. On the Sunday, filmmaker and YouTuber Kevin Smith appeared, and he brought the surprise announcement with him. He will be showrunning an animated He-Man and the Masters of the Universe revival series. In this editorial, I will first go through what little information is known about the series and what can be extrapolated from that, addressing the concerns everyone will have, before finally sharing my own thoughts on these news. If you like this video, then share it, that really helps, and leave a like and a comment. Also, be sure to subscribe and smash that bell for updates to this story. The trades report that this new He-Man series will be called Masters of the Universe Revelation, and that it picks up right where, presumably the original Filmation series, left off to tell an epic tale of what may be the final battle between He-Man and Skeletor. Parks and Cons were present during the PowerCon panel where this was announced, and tweeted more information that so far hasn't been widely picked up by the trades. They revealed a synopsis which reads, "After a ferocious final battle forever fractures Eternia, it's up to Tila to solve the mystery of the missing Sword of Power in a race against time, to prevent the end of the universe. Her journey will uncover the secrets of Grayskull at last." This is the epic He-Man and the Masters of the Universe saga fans have waited 35 years to see. First of all, I've never been a fan of such announcements that tell us what we as fans have been waiting for and for how long. Don't make presumptions like that. More importantly though, this is a pretty strong indication that the storyline of Tila and her secretly being the daughter of the sorceress, and her being destined to become the next sorceress, is likely the touchstone for the series. Spoiler alert, I guess. Anyway, more on that later. The series will be made by Mattel TV and distributed by Netflix. The executive producer here is Rob David, who not only serves as VP of Mattel TV, he co-wrote the Masters of the Universe story arc The Eternity War for DC Comics, so he does know this world. Writers of the series itself include Eric Carrasco, who also writes on Supergirl, Tim Sheridan, co-writer of the animated DC feature Reign of the Supermen, as well as Diam Mishra and Mark Bernardin, of Magic the Gathering and Alphas respectively. The animation of the series will be done by Powerhouse Animation, who also did Castlevania for Netflix. According to Parks and Cons, the Powerhouse representatives said their intention was to make the box art come to life. I guess they must mean the box art by Rudy Obrero, who in turn was inspired by Frank Frazetta's artwork on Conan the Barbarian. Kevin Smith reportedly also told PowerCon attendees that it would be faithful to the original and not mess up like some other IPs have done. But some fans are nonetheless understandably nervous, so let's go through what to me appears to be the most common points of contention. Many are worried that this might in any way be like, or worse yet, share continuity with, Noelle Stevenson's reboot, She-Ra and the Princesses of Power. I think we can safely surmise that the answer to both is a resounding no. Granted, both the upcoming He-Man series and Noelle Stevenson's She-Ra are distributed by Netflix, but that's where similarities end. The production company behind the She-Ra series is Dreamworks, and they only make that series on license from Mattel. In other words, Noelle Stevenson's She-Ra isn't Mattel's She-Ra, she is Dreamworks' She-Ra. Case in point, Mattel has licensed both He-Man and She-Ra to Golden Books, and in these books, which were published this year, Mattel's She-Ra is featured. Dreamworks, on the other hand, licensed their She-Ra to Scholastic, who also put out a book about Dreamworks' She-Ra. You see, it's right there in the logo. Dare I say it, 25% different? If you're new here and don't know the significance of that, check out our videos on the Star Trek and Star Wars rights situations, because this is more of the same. Anyway, the upcoming Masters of the Universe series isn't made by Dreamworks like She-Ra, but by Mattel themselves, by way of Mattel TV, which means they have no interest in crossing the streams, as it were, with Dreamworks' license. So for legal reasons alone, this He-Man series will be completely separate from Dreamworks' She-Ra series. On top of that, there is the creative reasons. Dreamworks She-Ra and Mattel's Masters of the Universe Revelation will obviously be made with different audiences in mind. That leaves the question though, will She-Ra, as in Mattel's She-Ra, be able to appear in this upcoming He-Man series? I very much doubt it. Dreamworks would insist on the condition that Mattel can't create another competing She-Ra while theirs is on the air. So in all likelihood, the Dreamworks She-Ra will have to be cancelled before the real Mattel She-Ra can appear in any other animated property of any kind. Another worry I see many express is that this incarnation will also go full woke. Here I wouldn't worry just yet. Based on the outline, Tila will no doubt have a big role, and depending on the execution, she may even be the real star of the series. Now before anyone freaks out over that, keep a couple of things in mind. First of all, Tila is no Mary Sue who becomes an instant lightsaber master the first time she picks one up. No, Tila was raised and trained by man-at-arms in fighting, strategy and warfare since before she could walk. She is badass and 10 times as capable as most men. Not by virtue of being female, but because she has more to prove and therefore works harder at being the best than anyone else, and that makes her the best. What she may lack in brute strength, she makes up for with speed, agility and strategy. She has trained all her life to be a warrior, but unbeknownst to her, her destiny is to become the next sorceress of Grayskull, not the next Master of Arms. So that's grounds for some real internal conflict right there. Furthermore, by giving her the mandatory character arc, He-Man can focus on doing what He-Man does best. Just consider the 2012 feature film Dredd. Giving Anderson the mandatory arc is what allowed Judge Dredd to be the Judge Dredd of the comics. I'm hoping we'll see something similar here. I'm also not too worried about them toning down any so-called toxic masculinity, because if you're worried about that, you're thinking about Conan. He-Man, as popularized by Filmation, was always a Boy Scout. That's why I always found the relationship between Skeletor and Evelyn to be much more interesting than the relationship between He-Man and Tila. To those of you who aren't aware, I'm not really a Star Wars fan. He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, on the other hand, that is my Star Wars. There's a reason why that is the case, but I'll leave that for another video. For now though, just know that this brand means a lot to me, and I'm quite protective of it. That's why I haven't seen Dreamworks She-Ra. It would hurt too much. And that's fine, it wasn't made for me, but for another target audience altogether. This, however, is made for me. A continuation of the Filmation series, featuring artwork inspired by Rudy Obrero? I wouldn't say I've wanted it for 35 years, but now that you've put the idea into my mind, yes please, I'll take it. Kevin Smith is not the first person I would pick as a showrunner, but however much he may shill for, well, anything that invites him on a set visit, he is a geek at heart. I don't know his feelings towards He-Man in particular, but he has a pretty versatile output behind him, so as of now, I'm not worried about him being the showrunner. What fills me with even more confidence is that Rob David will serve as executive producer. Again, he is the guy who wrote the Eternity War storyline for DC Comics, and that whole run was, in my opinion, pretty solid. If he keeps Kevin Smith a little bit in check, I think we're in good hands. Also, I'm really happy that this series is being made at all, because that shows that Mattel is serious about their intention to take a cue from Marvel and develop their own brands into full-fledged franchises. He-Man and the Masters of the Universe is one of the biggest brands in Mattel's entire portfolio. And this series shows that they're serious about bringing the brand back into the limelight, obviously in preparation for the upcoming feature film. Let me know your hopes and concerns for Masters of the Universe Revelation in the comments.
Before you go, check out these other videos that may interest you, and our sister channel Midnight's Edge After Dark for more live shows and more laid-back content.